Hello, and good morning. So, as we see over here, there is a very sharp need for cartographers in this world, because nobody even bothered to write down what's all the way up here. Kind of a shame. Nobody could ever know, and we'll never find out. Okay, so, how's the party changed? Not even remotely. Moving on. At this point, we're gonna start seeing heavy units. So, I think I'm gonna go slap some heavier axes on this chick. There we go. 69, you can't use heavy armor, and we don't have mid armor yet. A real tragedy. But no, we'll get mid armor. Or updated mid armor anyway. It'll happen eventually. I think overall we're pretty alright in that department. Actually, we're gonna be replacing, I think, you and, you. Archers. There. We kind of have Voltaire flying ahead of the curve in terms of points, just because he's the fancy-looking one. At last I find you, pants. Oh, man. I gotta screenshot this. There's a very good reason I find that hilarious. And that's everything about it. Alright. I'm so glad I picked this name. It's just the best name. If you're wondering what the deal is, by the way, you know, denim pants are hard jeans. Yeah. But that's basically Vice's dream right there. He dreams of finding those pants. Unfortunately, he pretty much never does. Until Coda, anyway. Which I guess it's kind of implied that they're sort of getting along now. Although, really, after seeing all the crap that he did, you really think that, she would just completely want him to be gone and never around ever. Because, yeah, no, like, how awkward is that conversation after the game, you know? I'll just sit around and code like, hey, oh, all those crazy adventures. So, Vice, how would you like to explain all of the crazy trying to murder us thing in basically almost all timelines? Maybe, care to shed a little bit of light on that? Maybe not a coincidence, you know, something we wanted to discuss a little bit. Perhaps go over, maybe dwell on that subject. Add. Yes, got a parry! So, I've been curious, how much does that actually go up per point? Per parry? That's his first parry ever. Okay, so we got almost 2% off that first parry. And given that it's rank 2, he's actually, I believe it's like a 10% chance to parry. I could be wrong, but it's generally been the number in most other cases. I think it's 5% per rank, which would make it 10% parry with a, either a light shield and spear or a heavy spear. Either spear build, really. There's that. Also, hey, Nightface, how would you like to not be here or breathing? They apparently would like that very much. Gonna go ahead and try to do so. I may have to cut off the mic here in just a sec. Yep, 1 sec. And I'm back. That was the longest and most unacceptable wait ever. I apologize. Basically everyone left already. I'm actually surprised that that number has gone up by like 12 in the last month. Who watches this crap? Oh well. It's okay, mistakes get made. So let's go ahead and drop some poison over there. Now these guys... I was hoping to recruit Cressida this time, because that basically never happens. So... I'll go ahead and assume that there's gonna be a need for doing some kind of shenanigans as far as the Chaos Frame goes later. Probably something along the lines of going through and... I don't know, I assume I have to hire a bunch of Galgastanis or something, give them jobs. Do a way better job of creating jobs, and I'm not even gonna go there. Anyway, Point being, I think that's how that works. I think it's if you recruit them, if you fight their enemies, and if you convince them to join you. So he gives the speech this time. All Pants has told you is true. We were conspired against. Exactly. That dang shirt militia. Just everything's funnier when you name somebody after a random object. Pants. You are a good laugh. Anyway, moving on. So, these guys are gonna go over here. They're gonna go do all the pew-pews. Actually, wait a second. That's not the Galgastan banner. Oh! Okay, yeah, no, you guys can all die. That's fine. So she joins up with the Resistance in this route. I'm sure she's a Galgastani in the other route. I don't know, I never really pay attention to the banners much until the one time when I do, and then I completely forget about it. Speeding this up just a tad. Hoping to do 2 parts today. We need to go. Actually, it was very risky because I could have potentially owned the hell out of Crushinator. Thankfully, that didn't happen. Spears, heavy spears. They're all handy and they spear heavily. Then I always read as Martell and get all depressed because, man, that episode was depressing. Whatever. Game of Thrones has kind of apparently jumped the shark at this moment. Which kind of sucks. It was really good for a long time, and then apparently as soon as the book material ran out, they're like, no, now we need to rush ahead and finish everything before the book comes out. And so they've just been rushing towards a finish line that they really can't even see yet. So, I mean, opinions vary, but it just feels like the entirety of the very last season there was just fan service up the nose, and that's it. I mean, it's not like 100% that, but it's just, compared with the others, it really seems that way. Not just my opinion, it seems to be the opinion of quite a few people. I know, those risky remarks. Something that agrees with a large number of people. Also, we're back again. Okay, and back again. And I might be gone again in a second. Such things happen. But, you know. So, pretty much what I'm talking about there, kind of mild spoilers if you haven't seen it, because this is going to be completely misremembered anyway. But there's just a whole bunch of fights that are completely set up with the old, kind of old thing from the other seasons of, like, you know, here's a bunch of people making really bad decisions, you know, who's going to end up surviving theirs. Or, you know, here's a bunch of people making risky choices, or here's a bunch of good choices that are going to backfire, and all this sort of thing. And then just nothing bad happens practically all season to anyone that matters, so it just kind of goes like any other friggin' TV show out there all of a sudden. Instead of, like, you know, all of our characters are in danger now and any one of them can be wiped off the page at any point. Like, no. Now we suddenly decided that they're all marketable, and we're technically not restricted to the source material anymore, so... Who wants to make everybody immortal? So, yeah. It was one of those kinds of things. I'm thinking... you. The odds are, but whatever, we'll give it a shot. Apparently low, that's what the odds were. I also could have gone for damage. That would have been a better idea. But my relationship with good ideas is a very tentative one. think that's the right word, I'm not 100% sure. I'll ask one of them word smart peoples. Even though, hilariously, I found my report card from friggin' high school recently. I was looking at the last year on there. Like, oh, friggin' A in computers, A in literature, A in history, A in, was it, visual design or something? Just picture editing, pretty much. Although it was like 90% like, hey, go get a picture of your family. Then put it on a thing and give it some filters and good enough. Easiest A I've ever seen. Like, literally just grab family picture, apply filters, and done. That class took 5 minutes. But no. Can't really think of any time where it's come in handy, really, but whatever. You'd think that given a class of using Photoshop, pretty much. Oh, they're back. And back. That was dramatic. The little one kind of dropped a pacifier, and they were all like, oh no, my pacifier's gone forever. As they do. As they do. Alright. What are we doing here, exactly? Oh yeah. You'd think for basically having Photoshop and all this other stuff, you'd think I would stop using crappy MS Paint stuff all the time, but no. Paint is life. Way to do it. Does that make sense? Maybe. Maybe. Doesn't matter, don't question it. Alright, so. Yeah, even if you were to get a shot, that wouldn't kill, so go ahead and go after this guy. Slowly work our way up here. Spread around some damage, keep stuff confusing for him. Now this is the chaos route, we gotta make it chaotic. And I left Discord up in the background again, so it's gonna make noises. It's gonna be such a frustrating vacation thing. There's a guy. Okay, so I've endlessly ranted about Armor Core and all that. So there was one of them in particular called Silent Line. Really good. And shockingly, because frankly most of them were really good. But the whole theme of that one was just AI experiments and all that. And so they had this whole system in there in which you would essentially make a build of a mech of whatever kind you wanted. And then you would essentially train them like you would a toddler, frankly. You would just, you know, you'd get into a fight with them. Okay, don't get into a fight with your toddler. What I mean to say is that you trained it by getting into a fight with it and then it just, like, stupidly ran into a wall. So, they were very dumb to start off with. But basically they watched how you fought them. They learned as you went on. And, that's kind of sad, come to think that I should have to mention don't fight a toddler, but whatever. Anyway, granted, we elected one, but whatever. So, point being, you know, you would just get into fights with these things, and then you would keep fighting it over and over and over, and it would learn these little tricks. It would just keep learning from the way that you're fighting. It would keep trying to copy your moves as best as it can. Copy stuff like, for example, it sees that you're locked onto a thing, and you're only firing once, you know, the reticle has been locked on for X amount of time, and at X range, you know, while you're going X speed, and, you know, maybe you were waiting for somebody to be this far away or at this sort of angle before kneeling down to use a back cannon, or, you know, that it would just keep looking and watching, and the more that you went with it, the more it learned cool stuff. And what's kind of a shame is when they actually made the, made Formula Front, the one with the actual, like, make your own AIs fight each other kind of thing, that the AI wasn't nearly as smart as it was in that one. Granted, you could program it within minutes as opposed to spending several days training a thing from being downright brain dead to actually being competent, after which you would spend several more weeks to get it to the point of even being average, but... I don't know what is going on with my controls here. What the hell is going on? My controls are hopping all over the place. Okay, so point being, this guy recently started making what I'm referring to as DLC for the thing. Because, it's something that's so frustratingly annoying that nobody's really bothered coming up with any kind of mass community thing up to this point. It wasn't a terribly popular thing, the community wasn't huge, and even when it got a portable remake and everyone in the community just went and bought it within 5 seconds, it still was something that didn't get that same kind of appeal, because although the original back on the PS2 was the big multiplayer one, at that point there was another sequel which was kind of seen as the main multiplayer thing. I'm sure if you've been part of a series with a whole crap ton of entries or a fighting game or anything, it's the same thing, just one of them is seen as the one for that particular thing. So Silent Line was viewed as one of these ones that's like, oh haha, it's fun, but it's not the smart one. Which kinda maybe a little bit, but no, there were a lot of tricks to that those particular two games. So, okay, now to finally get to that point that I've been promising for like a billion years. A guy was going through and making AIs for this thing now. So, I make AIs for another game on it, but that's more in terms of programming them to do a certain thing, and then they go do it. This guy basically goes and fights them over and over until they finally learn particular tricks. So he's been putting them out a few at a time and making what I'm basically referring to as DLC for the thing. So it's gonna be frustrating going on this vacation and seeing all these coming out, and I've been kind of douchey about it because as soon as they come out, within like a minute, I've been going through and just basically been beating them with what is generally regarded as a pretty crappy weapon, which are just manual fire rockets. Which is like, if you've ever played like any of the Ace Combat games or any of the AC games or whatever, lock-on is kind of the go-to, it's the standard. So if stuff's moving hundreds of miles an hour and like, okay, you have the choice of manual fire and predicting where they're gonna go, or you can just use lock-ons for everything. So basically I've been going through and beating them all with this manual fire thing, which isn't as difficult as it sounds. It's just most people never learn the tricks for it, because why would you bother? But it's one of these things of just, once you've seen the AI enough, you know exactly where they're gonna go, even when he's making them on the fly. Like, okay, you are moving at this trajectory, at this speed, you're moving behind the building over there, you're going to be at that exact spot in like half a second, so I'm just going to go ahead and like aim 2 shots at, the 2 spots where I think they're going to be, and then they end up running into one of them. So, granted, it takes precision, but dang, it's fun! But I'm probably not going to get a chance to try as many of them. Because of vacation! Actually, I mean, it might be possible. There's going to be some downtime on vacation. It's just like, probably not gonna happen. Because I'm gonna be doing family stuff, and that's gonna be awesome. And then I'm gonna completely forget how any of these work. Anyway, see you next time.